Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. I'm Emily.
And I am Andrew.
Whoa, you are so enthusiastic for 9:30 on a Sunday night.
It's because I actually took a late nap, like at 8 p.m., so I could be awake for this.
Whoa, that's a late nap, man. That's playing with fire, dude.
The heat was getting to me. It was like I thought
The heat?
the heat.
What heat?
It was a whole 75 today, and I was out of the house like most of the afternoon.
When was it 75?
My car was reading like 78 at one point, like after we got out.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that
out of the
asphalt,
parking
I'm
lot.
sure, can get hot and reflective. Rick and I went on a 23-mile bike ride today, and I was sweating at the end of it, but never, like, I also had sun sleeves on, so it's pretty covered, and I just definitely did not feel hot.
Well, I always feel hot, but that's a different discussion.
That's something to talk about with your doctor, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah. It's a sign of menopause.
Are you going through that change, Andrew?
No, I'm not actually, because I am a young, independent white male.
Yes. White men have no idea, especially the young ones.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah. So you hinted to me that you had some exciting beverages.
I do. I am double fisting it flamingo style. And by double fisting it, I mean we were about to start this podcast, and I didn't want to chug the beer I was working on just so I could have a fresh drink to get going, because that would be irresponsible. But I didn't want to have to get up partway through the episode to get another one. So I've got the last dregs of a guava blonde ale. This comes from Ecliptic Brewing Company. This one's called their Flamingo Planet.
Nice.
It's super refreshing.
So you have two of those?
Well, that's what I've been working on for like the last 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And the one I'll be pouring after that is from Schilling, which I want to say is a woman-owned company.
I don't know, but I'm actually going to look that up because I love Schilling.
I remember that being a thing.
Schilling Cider House, like there's one in Fremont that we should all go to.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go to the one in Fremont because it's supposed to be super cool, and they're supposed to have a lot of their limited edition stuff that doesn't hit
They
stores.
have like 20 ciders plus on tap.
Cider, something that's growing on me. I've never been super into it, but craft cider takes it to a different level.
I love cider.
Than the generic variety of Angry Orchard that I'm used to.
Yeah, I have a soft spot because Angry Orchard's a Cincinnati company, but I really prefer. I like Schilling. I like Seattle Cider Co. Those Seattle Cider Co. Man, they have hits and they have like some horrific misses.
The only one I've tried from them is their Marionberry.
That sounds good.
Hopped cider.
Was it good?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different cider company. Shoot. I think I'm thinking of a different cider company.
I mean, that sounds like something they would do. I've had a lot.
Oh, no. Seattle Cider Company is the one that comes in like, they do like 4 pint cans. Yeah. No, they did like a maple one that I tried a while back that was really good. And they did a like a lime basil.
Oh, the lime basil's the best one, I think.
That was super refreshing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this one from Schilling is the grapefruit and chill. It's their grapefruit flavor.
I've heard of that. I might have seen that recently.
It's got it's just flamingo and palm trees. And between the two flamingo drinks and my bright red shorts and my red and blue and pink Hawaiian shirt, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Although I am wearing Birkenstocks, not flip-flops.
I feel like you need a vacation from your vacation. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, I know how to pretend like I'm retired, you know?
Though I had from Seattle Cider Co. I got once they had at the grocery outlet, which I like to call the gross out, a berry cider. I'm like, oh, I like Seattle Cider Company. I kind of like berry flavors. I'm going to get it. And Tiffany, who we had on the podcast, came over with her gentleman who does drink. Tiffany's sober. If you haven't listened to that episode, please do. And I offer one to him and he accepts and we both crack one open. and we're smelling. I'm like, this smells weird. And Tiffany smells it, and she's like, that smells like a hangover. That was a great way to describe it. It really smelled like you.
Was it kind of like cough syrupy?
It smelled like vomit. Yeah, it smelled like you
Ooh,
vomited up wine. Is what it smelled like to me. Like red
that's
wine.
not pleasant.
No, and
When I
it tasted
when I
bad
think of
too.
like when I think of drinks that smell like a hangover, I think cheap
Mm,
tequila. Like good tequila, I'm down with. Cheap tequila, I immediately like that smells like college.
gross. We had different college
And
experiences.
not in the good way.
No,
Not in the
nobody
good
thinks you
college
mean the
way.
good way, Andrew.
I had many positive experiences in college, and cheap tequila was not
Yeah,
one
but
of
that
them.
berry cider is one of the few ciders I've sipped and just dumped down the drain. I've done it with bottles of wine. Like we talked about the wine club, like I think it was
Hmm.
last week. And once I got a bottle from them that I'd gotten previously and it tasted good, I opened up, I'm like, this smells rancid. And to
Oh, you're gone like
yeah,
skunky.
and to the company's credit, they I think they either refunded it or like gave me a credit or sent me another bottle. Like I don't remember which one, but they made it right. But I took like one sip and I'm like,
Good.
just gonna dump this down the drain. Like I don't. Oh, jeez, jeez,
Yeah, I've had that happen with beer
gross.
before. The one notable time it happened to me is I got a case of Newcastle, which is the brown ale that comes in the clear
Mm,
bottles. And fun fact about clear bottles is they don't protect the liquids inside very well from
I've
UV
heard that.
exposure. And it turns out this is a known deal because I called my dad to complain. He's like, "Oh yeah, well that's what you get for buying Newcastle. You got the one off the top of the pallet, didn't you?" I'm like,
Ah,
"Yeah." He's like, "Rookie
rookie
mistake."
move.
I'm like, "Thanks,
Uh,
Dad."
the things he didn't teach you.
Rookie move, Junior. Yeah. So every single bottle in that case was skunked out, and the grocery store refused to replace
Mm,
it. But it was a grocery store, I mean, whatever.
yeah,
Case that's like $20 is cheap junk. Anyways, I didn't need that in my life.
nasty. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I've been working on a glass of red wine for about 2 hours, so that's where I'm at in my
nice.
life.
Side note: if the unless it's skunky, like if you try a wine you don't like, throw it in an ice cube tray, freeze it, and save it for like soups or sauces later.
That's a good idea.
We did that, or if it's like if you know the wine's been open for more than like 3 days and you know it's starting to get
Mm,
vinegary, you can do it with that as well. So I'll
that's
save
smart,
it and throw it like
actually.
in a roux sauce, like have it with like a steak or whatever.
Oh, a roux sauce. That sounds redundant. Why does that sound so? That just feels redundant because of
Well, I'm not
whatever.
French.
Tu n'es pas le français.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Tu ne parles pas le français.
My now former coworker was French. Unfortunately, he found some other opportunities, and we'll miss him dearly. He actually popped in the office on Friday. I'm like, "What the heck are you doing here, man?" He was
C'est
French. He's
que je ne sais pas how to quitte
yeah, you
cet
lost me.
travail. I don't know. I think I tried to say I don't know how to quit this job, but
If we have any French listeners, can you please tell us how terrible we are? Thank you.
I took 5 years
Um,
of French. That's embarrassing.
I took possibly that many years of Spanish,
Hmm.
and my Spanish is mediocre at best. Most of
So
the
you,
Spanish,
yeah.
most of it that I retained is from like slang and just like stuff that I would like say with friends,
Mm-hmm.
and not like the whole past tense kind of like all the grammatical stuff. I just no idea.
Yeah, I get that. So, I have some new things that I would like to talk about.
Tell me.
I had my first gig as a member of a band since I moved to Seattle last Thursday. It was
Woo!
awesome. I was in the house band for the first show of the Ladies of Country Music tributes, and I don't know what the official title of the series is called because I'm just a band member. I'm not their promoter for once. And I was guitar, and it was the Dolly Parton Allison Krauss tribute night, and I had the best time. Like that was so fun. It was so great
Cool.
when you play 9 to 5 and everybody in the room like gets up and just like rages. It is such a good feeling. Like I was in a cover band in Nashville and I remember seeing people get so stoked when we play a song that they really liked. And like people rag on cover bands like, you know what, dude, it's fun. It's fun when people like know and love whatever you're playing and they're
Oh
into
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I am all down with cover bands so long as they don't suck.
Yes, we
But
did not
that's also
suck.
just bands in general.
We were great, and it was 2 shows, an early show and a late show. I'm playing guitar at another one at the end of this month. This is June. I believe it's June. I think it's June 27th.
Oh, cool.
So at the Royal Room, there's an early show which is all ages, and a late show which is 21 and up. I'd love to see
That's
people
when the
there.
real party begins.
Yes, it's they had food and I got some of the food and it was really good. And they said instead of doing drink tickets, they just put a big tub of Rainier, like 30 Rainier cans, and
Nothing but
all
the
and
good stuff.
it was mostly singers. Like it was 4 band members and then a bunch of singers, and all the singers said, I don't want to drink this carbonated fizzy beer before I go on stage. Like I'm just going to be belching the whole time and nobody wants to hear that.
Well, most of nobody, but anywho.
I'd well, whoever was on the mic next wouldn't want them belching into it. Let's agree on that.
Well, we can also agree that house mics in general smell like Ebola.
Oh jeez, that's not nice.
It's true. It never, ever, ever make the mistake of sniffing a house mic anywhere. I don't
Andrew,
care if it's
Ebola killed a lot of people, dude.
yeah.
Let's just say it smelled like barf or something. It smells like it definitely smells like old burps.
Let's just say that when Billy Joel says the microphone smells like a beer, he's being very kind.
Yes. You know, once Prince fired one of the guitar techs because the guitar tech went outside, smoked some cigarettes, and then came inside and checked all the mics. And when Prince walked up to his mic, all he could smell was cigarette smoke. So he fired that tech.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's that's actually kind of reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You don't, yeah, I get it. I kind of
That's
get it.
irritating.
Like, yeah, I kind of get it. I don't smoke, and I get it, man. Like, my grandfather smoked, and I just remember him always smelling like cigarettes. And I remember when he died, my mom gave me some of his jackets, and she said the black one probably still smells like him, which is to say it smelled like Winston-Salem's, the cigarettes that he smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
mind you, did you see that article? The news headline about the singer from the Who was yelling at someone in the crowd for token up
do
near
you
the
not know
stage.
the name of the singer from The Who? You don't know his
You,
name? You don't
I'm
know the name.
blanking
You
so
don't
hard.
know. Just chime in when you get it. Roger
Roger.
Daltrey? You don't know? Really? Really? How young are you? Stop it. I'm
I'm sorry.
barely older than you, and I know who Roger Daltrey is.
And that's fine, but Keith Moon is also one of my favorite drummers of all time. So you've got to give me some credit there. That was the member that I always cared about.
That's the guy who like he
Blew
you
everything up.
no, he died.
I know.
He
So
was
did
literally
John Bonham.
yes, yes. But Keith Moon
Drummers
was
have a bad habit of doing drummer type things.
well, once he was so screwed up on like horse tranquilizers I took before a show or something like that, and he passed out mid set, and they pulled some kid from the audience on. I had to pull some kid out of the audience to finish the set for him.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not saying that
that's
they're
not someone
saints.
to idolize.
I'm saying that, but I'm not saying I'm idolizing the behavior. What I'm saying is the play style was just groundbreaking. Like,
All
who
right.
doesn't have a hi hat?
A
Keith Moon
total
didn't have a hi hat. Like, what the heck? How did he rock? Like, no, a hi hat? Are you kidding me? So
yeah, I'm not gonna give him that. I'll be honest, but I hear he was quite kind to groupies, and the groupies really liked him. That he was fun. That's what I've heard. That's my impression of Keith Moon is that he was very fun off stage.
The story that I remember when I was learning how to play drums is that he put goldfish, like he like filled up his drums with water and then put goldfish inside the drums.
I don't like that.
And I just remember thinking that was somehow the most screwed up and yet most rock and roll thing ever.
I think
And I
the
was like,
ASPCA would disagree with like him doing that, like adamantly.
I agree with that statement, but you got to remember, middle school me was just like, whoa, what? You put goldfish in a drum, so that's how I learned how to play drums.
Oh, Keith
So,
Moon.
drove
Okay.
a Rolls Royce into a pool.
Oh God, I just want to be that stupid rich. That's all I want in life. Pay
I don't.
me. Yeah. Yeah, and also I have a gig on Wednesday with my friend Stephanie Ann Johnson at Tim's Tavern in North Seattle. And if you listeners would like to come out, that'd be super cool.
You should do it.
You should do it. You should do it. It's
Just
only
like cancel all your plans and just go.
I think it's like a $5 suggested donation.
It doesn't matter that it's your anniversary. Just go.
Whose anniversary?
I don't know, but whoever's listening.
Andrew, is that your anniversary?
It's not. No, mine's in January.
Yes. Dope. Anything new with you, Andrew?
Not a whole lot on the gear side of things because I'm gearing up to move.
But I'm chick.
Yeah, just the annual Seattle migration of swapping around different places because of the rising cost of rent. So, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is what it is. I'm not bothered, and I'm looking forward to a change of pace. So
Well,
it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, dear listener, Andrew doesn't want to brag, but he's also cooking up something really fun in our Facebook group. So if you're not a member of that, hop in the Facebook group. There's kind of something fun going around. Nudge, nudge. Hint, hint.
I definitely don't like to brag. I am the most humble. Believe me.
You're the
No one is more humble than me.
No one is humbler than Sir Mr. Andrew Renard.
Sir, Mr. Doctor, thank you.
Reverend.
Not yet. Working on that.
Fun fact, I am. Oh, the internet can do wonderful things.
If I wasn't drinking a flamingo drink that I actually enjoyed, I would have just spit that out. What?
I am ordained on the internet.
More power to you.
United Life Church. I can do weddings. So can
You've probably done more weddings than I have.
So can a notary public, actually, which is a better skill to have.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. It's not worth it.
Oh. It's not worth it. My husband has learned it's not really worth arguing with me.
We're going to leave the arguing for later.
Yeah. We'll argue about inconsequential things.
Yeah, and consequential things later this episode.
Probably, yeah. I'm sure we'll have some disagreements. You and I.
Possible.
Yeah. So, dear listener,
hopefully they're respectful.
Please expect some disagreements. There might be yelling. There might be cursing.
Disclaimer.
I'm not sure we agree.
Listening to this at your own risk.
I'm not sure Andrew and I agree on the topic that we're about to discuss, but we do.
We'll get into it.
But what we do agree with is that the Mount Hood is a great pedal. It's a triangle fuzz. It's a triangle fuzz with a 3-band EQ and a presence knob on one side and a Germanium boost on the other. It's by Spruce Effects. It's really sweet. Get one at the Spruce Effects website. Do it.
And if you think about it, man, like a triangle muff with a 3-band EQ, that's like the most Illuminati thing ever, man. Like threes everywhere.
Oh, dude, you're right.
Look out for the threes. It's a mountain. You know what mountains are shaped like?
Triangles. Yes. They are. Oh my gosh.
You know how many people helped build this thing?
A lot.
Actually 4, because Spruce is a 2-person operation.
I think I think that the real John Snyder from electronic audio experiments also looked at it.
Okay, so then we're up to 5.
Yeah, and I think everybody has a lot of respect for the John Snyder from Electronic Audio Experiments.
Well, sorry, folks. Illuminati not confirmed. We can move on with our days. Sorry about that.
I mean, it's still a lot of white dudes involved, so the odds are high.
How do you know so much about the Illuminati?
What? Oh.
Oh boy, here we go.
Whew.
I know
Okay,
it.
let's change the subject to something less controversial.
Classic.
um,
What's up?
Happy Pride Month to everyone who is celebrating Pride this month. I don't know, like that's really inclusive.
That is a very wide band of people, and I love it.
LGBTQ plus. We love you. I love you. I hope that you have a wonderful month celebrating Pride.
Indeed.
Indeed. You know, did you know that Pride started with a police riot?
Stonewall, right?
Stonewall, yeah.
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 I
So
do know about that, yeah.
so like Pride isn't some arbitrary thing. It really
It's not like we
has
just assigned it a random.
no, I think it might be the 50th anniversary. I think it might be some big anniversary, but it's been almost 50 years at least since that. And so that makes it really important for members of that community. So I just think it's really important for all of us as people who want to be allies to, listen and encourage and let our friends know that like we see them and we love them and we just want them to be happy and be included and have the same rights as everybody else. And just like I'm constantly sad by and sad's not the right word. I'm infuriated by some of the states of things in the world. I'm infuriated that people who are transgender are more likely to be victims of violent crime, be homeless. People who love someone of the same sex or gender as them are can be denied basic rights. Like doctors in some states can deny having them as patients or having their children as patients because of their orientation. And I just think that I don't want to say anything. I think that something that allies and brands can do is just raise awareness, normalize this normal thing, and just spread love and protect our friends and our community members as much as we can. That was a bit of a tangent. I have
That
strong
was
feelings.
quite the statement.
Yes. Was that okay? Is it okay that I made such a statement?
I mean, I'm not terribly opposed now.
Okay, good. I mean, I don't really care what you think about that. That's how I feel. And
Oh, that's totally cool.
yes. And so, yeah, the topic this month is kind of about pride and the LGBTQ community and specifically how brands are handling it, have handled it, good ways to handle it, bad ways to handle it. From our, for the record, very limited cis-het perspectives.
Can you explain what that means for
Yes.
those of us who aren't terribly familiar with
Yeah.
all of the terms and the
Totally.
acronyms
Totally.
and the abbreviations?
I'll start with the easier part. The het part stands for heterosexual. I'm a woman.
That's me.
That's me. I am a woman who is attracted to men, and you are a man who's attracted to women, is my
That
understanding
is
of you.
indeed correct.
And I forget what CIS stands for. My apologies, but basically means I was born. The doctor said I was a girl. Inside, I am a girl. I assume
Indeed.
the same for you. But
that is cisgender.
Yeah, and that is the opposite of transgendered, which some people find controversial, I guess.
People do.
People do. But
that is a true statement.
Yeah. But I mean, I just want people to be who they are, and I can't imagine I don't know if there are a lot of ways that people can understand what that's like to be like
Yeah, no.
closeted, and because I've never been through that experience, and I think that's just a part of it. If this is something that you're comfortable chatting about, feel free to hit up Andrew and I. We'd love to talk about your experiences. Also in the group, I want to keep that a safe place for everybody.
Yeah, hate's not super cool. I'm not a fan of that. And on that note, real quick, if you don't mind me taking a quick tangent to talk, since I tend to be more of the ambassador to our Christianity side of our listenership.
Go for it.
Alrighty, just real quick. Let's see here. For the folks who are listening to this who don't theologically agree with certain lifestyles, I think we can all agree, regardless of where you fit on that theological bent of things, that it's pretty uncool to treat people differently and to treat people like unfairly and all this, that, and unlovingly. And the whole like treating people with love is the very basis of Christianity. And so, I'm not going to put up with anyone in the group or any of the responses who are acting in an unloving, unkind manner. I'm all for having a discussion, but yeah, I don't put up with that. And yeah, I'm if we're in a context of talking about Christianity and theology, sure, let's talk about it in a respectful manner. But that's a very different conversation than what we're about to have, which is a conversation outside of that realm and just a general culture, the world we live in. This is the way things are, and I'm kind of pretty solid on like Christianity is its own thing, but I don't feel like we need to make being gay or LGBTQIA like illegal or prosecuting that on illegals. Like that's just totally uncool. So I really, if that's how you feel personally, like that's fine. We can talk about it, but we're talking about this in the very rational sense of everyone gets to be treated equally, and that's not a debate.
Yeah.
So
And I think part of being treated equally is to just feel seen and appreciated.
yeah,
And
100%.
I
So
think that's a big reason a lot of brands do special things for Pride.
what you're saying that they're not taking gross advantage of Pride Month in order to make a profit?
Honestly, sometimes they are. That's like I think it's very possible to have that kind of opinion on the matter, especially for things like alcohol brands. I think that you could perceive that as taking advantage of a community that's stereotypically likes to party and have a good time, and alcohol is a big part of that. But you,
And it was at this moment in the podcast where the listener realized, Houston, we have a problem.
yeah, I mean, I think that alcohol abuse is a problem in a lot of communities, from rural conservative Christian communities, where I came from. There was definitely a lot of alcoholism there. I think that when you have a community that so revolves around, at least seemingly on the outside, consumption of alcohol and going to nightclubs and going to clubs and going to
There
parties.
are so many jokes about Baptists and alcohol, because Baptists in general, like it's that denomination is like not super cool with
Oh,
drinking.
they all just go to
It's,
the liquor store in the next town over. Like they
yeah,
all, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
There's just so many jokes about that, and it's kind of funny because it's true, and it's unfortunately true because that. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah, it's true.
and then there's the jokes about the reformed folks liking their IPAs, and having beards and all of that, which
Mhm.
I have a beard and I like IPA and I am not super reformed. So haha,
Ha,
suck it, Calvin. Um,
yeah. So, I think that that's a fine line between like paying homage to one of your customer bases, and just being. I don't want to say predatory. If I said predatory before, I didn't mean that. It
you're
can be.
so quick to share your opinion. You're just laying it all out
I
there.
know. What do you think? I'll ask
Well,
you.
before I share what I think, because honestly, the way I think is largely informed by others around me who have a different experience than I do with that realm of things, and because I don't really have any issues with people targeting me for ads during this month. So, to I guess I'll just start with sharing kind of a couple of things I've seen from some of my friends who identify as LGBTQI plus. Uh, and something I saw, a good friend of mine, Spencer, actually lives in Seattle. They were posting about how it's just 100% across the board. And Spencer, I apologize if I'm completely misrepresenting what you said. They were saying that across the board, like it's not okay to sell branded stuff for Pride Month. Uh, in that we can use our social media marketing platforms to bring that up and to talk about and to raise awareness, but then trying to capitalize on it is just a just capitalism doing its thing. It's kind of uncool and it's taking gross
Yeah.
advantage. And
I think it's so like on a case by case basis. Like I used to do a lot. I guess selling branded things is almost different than like when I was at Artist Home and the Supreme Court came through with, legalizing gay marriage. We changed our profile picture to, have the rainbow in it. And on one of our on Twitter, I don't think we ever changed it back just because that's such a big part of the community that we had been, developing, and so many of our performers that we've been working with and our friends were affected by that decision. But yeah, we didn't sell anything branded. That is kind of
well, okay, so I'm gonna continue on my bent a
sorry,
little
keep
bit
going.
here as it develops. And I guess I want to caveat that with I'm always hesitant to draw wide sweeping. It is never statements. It is always statements. As oh, as the great canon of Star Wars has taught us, only Sith deal in absolutes, which itself is an absolute statement. Really makes you wonder what was going on there, but. Only
Oh.
Sith deal in absolutes, and I'm not a Sith, so I'm very hesitant to draw to brush broad brushstrokes with that. But I definitely understand the sentiment, and I understand that historically speaking, this is a group of folks that have been grossly taken advantage of, that have been treated like a minority for in a variety of different ways. I don't think is completely necessary to get into on this episode, because that's just a whole conversation for another time. I mean, that's a centuries, millennia old history lesson on the discrimination against this people group, and so that's just a whole different topic. But I think within the gear community, and this is where we start getting into gear podcasts, is remember last year, I remember a handful of companies were putting out, I remember seeing a lot of stuff in social media, and I don't remember if there's a whole lot that was being sold that was
Like branded, like rainbow.
branded as such. The only thing that comes to mind was, good gravy. I really should know this, but I can't remember if it's Trans Awareness Day or if it's Trans Awareness Week. I remember sometime last summer, Earthquaker Devices was posting stuff on their social media of pedal doodles, their little cat and the trans flag, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I
That's a
and I don't
nice way to
remember if
do
they
it.
were. I know that was just their pedal doodle. I don't know if that was just kind of what they typically do with pedal doodles, where it gets mixed in as kind of like an Easter egg. Did you get one or did you not? Or if that was a specific fundraiser. I can't remember if they were auctioning off to donate proceeds, or I honestly don't remember what the story was. I don't ever remember thinking that was them taking gross advantage of anyone. And so,
Yeah. I mean, I think that if you put your money where your mouth is, it makes an enormous difference in the perception of it.
right. So I guess I'm to bring it from a case by case basis. I think it would be a fair thing to say that if a if you're donating a portion, if not all of the proceeds from a sale to a charity, for instance, to help with that cause, I think that could be a way to bring awareness
Mhm.
and to sell things and not be taking gross advantage of, like, this is just a marketing stunt for me to make more
Yeah.
money.
And I mean
And that's what
yeah.
people have accused larger brands of over the last few months with a couple different topics. Like the brand that I can think of in the mainstream would be Gillette. They did their
Oh, that was well
toxic
done.
masculinity
Oh,
thing.
and
I thought that was.
they also did the transgendered teen, his dad showing him how to shave for the first time.
I don't remember seeing that,
That's
but that's
very
cool.
recent, and it is very beautiful, I thought.
But
And people got
I
mad
mean, yeah,
about it, of
they
course.
well, yeah, I mean, people got mad about that. People got mad about Nike, and they started lighting their shoes on fire while still wearing their Nikes, and I don't know.
Dope. Yeah, let them do that. If you wanna light the shoes that you're wearing on fire because you hate gay people, do that.
Um,
I support that dumbness.
but I mean, the argument is like, well, they're just doing that to try and draw a customer base, and that's just I don't want to get into the meta of
Mhm.
the the nonsense of what that is, because I don't know. I don't work in those companies. I don't understand what was going on in the back rooms. I
No.
don't want to touch. That's playing with fire. I'm not going to go there.
I mean, you can
But
look at
that's
it.
the accusation that was
Yeah.
thrown around, and I would hate to see that kind of accusation get thrown around in the gear community.
I mean,
And so
it certainly
this
would.
is why we're having
Yeah.
this conversation.
I mean, it depends on the brand. Bigger brands, maybe. Smaller brands, probably not. I think that selling things for profit without donating a portion, if not all the proceeds, to organizations that help people in that community, that's bad. That's not okay. I'm not cool with that. Nobody should be cool with that. You can't do something specifically designed to get somebody's money because you know that they care about this group of people and then keep it all for yourself. Like that is crap.
I mean, let's play devil's advocate here for a second.
Mm.
And
White men love playing devil's advocate.
I know, and I am not the devil, contrary to popular belief. And so I'm not saying that this is what I'm thinking. I just, for the sake of playing it out in a thought experiment sort of way, what if we think about it in terms of the social media awareness itself, and the spreading awareness itself brings value to that as an ally. So in a completely kind-hearted, we're assuming the best out of this company, and that they're not in this for the money sense, or at least not in a greedy sense, more of it that we just have a business to run kind of sense.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
look.
we're
I think an example of that in a way, is electro food pedals. They have like on their about page basically says like, if you're homophobic, don't buy our pedals. Like, I think a way to show allyship and like again put your money where your mouth is without necessarily having to donate money specifically, but like
and that's something I can totally get down with
yeah. But
100%.
I mean,
To
if Boss released like a rainbow pedal or a blue white blue pedal and sold it during this month and made it clear that it was an homage to LGBTQ plus, uh, and then kept all of that money. I mean, that's weird and cold. Like if it's a bigger company doing it, that's weird, cold, bad. Smaller companies, I don't see selling. I don't see them like trying to monopolize on money on like
yeah,
that like
they're
that.
certainly not going to monopolize on it. I'm just thinking
Not
in terms of
monopolize, like
a
monetize it. I'm sorry, it's late.
I I didn't even realize that's the word you said. I knew what you meant, and I didn't even realize that's the word you said. But the flip side is like bigger companies have more of a marketing draw on that,
Mhm.
in the sense of just providing that positive message. And so if
Yeah.
we think about it in terms of value, does that change anything, or does that just stink of capitalism?
I don't know, and I think and it's not gear related, but I think the Gillette ad is a great example. I don't know if they're giving portions of proceeds to other people. I think they're probably still charging women more for their razors despite the toxic masculinity stuff, like
Right, right.
so,
So here's a question that I can't possibly answer on this podcast, and I want to hear answers from this in the group thread. At what point, because Pride Month isn't something new. I mean, this has been a thing with social media for the last handful of years. At what point, or what are things that brands do that, for those of you who identify as LGBTQI plus, I mean, what point does it feel pandering? At what point does it feel inauthentic, or just unnecessary or unwanted, uncalled for. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't have an answer for that because I'm not. I can't possibly
Yeah.
have an answer for that. That I don't have that
You
experience.
and I can't possibly have that answer. And every person who is LGBTQ plus has a different opinion on it, I'm sure. I mean, there's not like you can't have like consensus opinions with such a broad group of people.
Right, right. And so
That's
I just
why the
really
individual experiences are, I think, what you're saying that we want to hear.
right. And I'd love to hear that, and I want to hear that perspective. I think that's incredibly valuable perspective. Um, so, and as a side note, for anyone who's an ally, acknowledging your blind spots is one of the most important things you can do.
Yeah, I
Or
would agree with
acknowledging that
that.
even if you don't realize that it is a blind, or that you have certain blind spots, just being aware that you might have them, and just being very open and being listening to other people is one of the most valuable thing we can do as
Yeah.
humans, as a general
And
statement.
as somebody who has
But
experiences that you lack tells you you're wrong, you need to listen to them.
I think that's fairly, and there I go. I'm making broad brushstroke statements. I might as well be a Sith.
Oh, I mean, the cis had the best makeup, let's be real.
Darth Maul was awesome.
Yeah, and oh gosh, I'm not gonna start. They built up this big bad guy just to like, whatever. I don't wanna.
Yeah, but they brought him back in Clone Wars and Rebels, and it was awesome.
Okay.
That did not end in Episode 1.
But it did for people who aren't the
Spoilers, but I
biggest
don't
dorks
care.
in the
The
world.
It's so worth it. Here's something that completely unnecessarily related to this episode. If you have watched all of the like main episodes of Star Wars, and you find that like particularly the prequels are just kind of lacking and cheesy, I dare you, triple dog dare you to watch Clone Wars
Mhm.
and deal with the cheesiness that is the first couple of seasons until it starts to pick up.
Yeah.
And I think you'll really get an appreciation for what Dave Filoni did
Mhm.
with that
Yeah.
series and the building of the entire extended universe and how that all builds in together. It's just so good.
Yes.
Um,
And I want to make another note for people who want to be allies, just to pull it back into the
Yum, yum,
topic.
yum.
Um, I think that I always talk about putting your money where your mouth is. Um, so do it. Like, just do it. Spend money on people who build things who are LGBTQ. If you have a little,
Are we illegally allowed to say "just do it"? Is that an infringement?
you can't own that phrase. You can't own that. You can't own the night. No one does.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Free sticker to whoever messages me and tells me where they don't own the night. No one does. Anyone who can tell me where that's from gets a free sticker.
Uh,
You don't know where it's
yeah,
from.
I would say the same thing about the "don't let your dreams be dreams" thing. But if you don't know where that is, I feel sad. That just brings me sadness to know that someone on this planet might not know where that phrase isn't would be from.
Is it from a poster in a guidance counselor's office?
It's not. No, it's even better than that.
Okay, I'll Google it later. Um, but yes, there are plenty of builders out there who would love your support, I'm sure, because they're great builders, not because they fit into a weird box of things you want to check off of your I want to feel good about myself list, but just like explore the diverse community that we are kind of lucky to have becoming more diverse every day. This group of people who build guitars, pedals, pedal boards, all manner of awesome things. Um, and you just like, I just love it's my favorite way to spend my money.
I'm just a fan of people being cool people, and to get on a slightly preachy note. Can I get slightly preachy here for a sec? I don't do it often. Can I cash in like
Yeah, cash it
this
in, cash it in.
this previously untalked about expectation that I get to be preachy every once in a while? Is that if you're a Christian and you believe that everyone is made in the image of God, then gosh darn it, act like it. Like everybody is. and so we're all beautiful. We're all human. Like that's what I think a lot of people miss is that we are all human. And I think there's something really incredibly beautiful about that. I really like celebrating the diversity of the human population and what everybody brings to the table. And I freaking love that. So
You're one of them hippie Christian boys, aren't you?
it's starting to come out of me. I wasn't always, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I like that. I'm
Um,
into it. I'm not religious, but when I do meet religious people, I prefer they be basically hippies.
so
Yes.
I'll get off my soapbox. I needed to get that out there because
No.
that's something that really bothers me. The way that this whole topic conversation. I don't even like saying how this whole topic is handled. It's how these people are handled because these are people.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't treat it like that, and it
Yeah.
really irritates das Hecken out of me.
Das Hecken.
So
Yes.
das Hecken. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was our first episode of Pride Month, possibly our only Pride-related episode of Pride Month, as I think we're hopefully gonna have a two-parter starting next week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
A little bit of housekeeping here. I don't know if we should do it or not, but before we make a final decision, I do want to hear from folks in the Facebook group. Join the Facebook group for multiple reasons. One, join the Facebook group to give us feedback on whether or not we should do some branded merch for Pride Month with the explicit intent of giving away
all the
proceeds. Yes. But I don't want to say that we're going to do that. I want to hear from folks, and I don't want to trip over myself here and assume that that's going to be super chill. So I want to hear from folks. Tell us if you think we should do that or not, and
Yes.
that would not be for any sort of financial gain on our end.
No, it would be totally donating it to people who need that money in our immediate community.
Also join the Facebook group, and just if you don't see it in I'm just going to pin the post. That would just make things a lot easier. I'm going to pin a post. If you join the Facebook group, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It's a very cool things that you're going to want to be a part of that will cost you about very little.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of shipping. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Cost of shipping. And yeah.
And we promise it's not you sending us stuff. It's not a pyramid scheme situation.
You send us your favorite pedal and we'll do a review for it that's guaranteed to come out in the next 7 years.
7 years, yeah, pretty much.
It's got to be your favorite, most valuable pedal of all time.
Yes. And you won't get anything back ever. It's ours now.
No, it's purely to support the podcast.
No, you see, and then you recruit other people to send us pedals, and then we'll send you one of their pedals, and that's how pyramid scheme works. So then they have to recruit more people, or they never get a pedal. Yes.
I think the Supreme Court just had a deal with a MLM company actually that cited that the MLM company has to all of its salespeople have to be hired on as employees, and they have to be paid. Compensated for their time.
Remind people what MLM means.
MLM is multi-level marketing.
And the most famous example is?
There's many famous examples. I'm thinking of like Mary Kay and Avon.
Mary Kay, yeah, and Avon. And then those stupid leggings.
Yeah, it's not Lululemon.
No.
That's an actual chain.
I forget what they are, just crap leggings, and then you have to buy like a bunch of ugly ones to get the ones that people actually want to buy. Oh, and that protein.
LuLaRoe.
Yeah.
Melissa's actually sitting in the room.
Yeah. And the shaker one. Ask her about the nutrition shake one. My cousin's wife did that one for a minute. Everyone thought she was just
Which one?
The nutrition shakes.
Oh, the Advocare?
Maybe. But she was my cousin's wife, and she was just posting about her weight loss, and everyone's like, oh yeah, good for you, like we're so proud of you, you're so hard. And then all of a sudden she starts like selling people shakes, and the engagement on her post dropped off a cliff. Everyone's like, oh no, thank you.
There it is. Yeah. Anyways, so multi-level marketing is just the whole where you buy stuff and you get to keep a chunk of your commission and you hold parties.
Yeah.
Pampered Chef is one that I'm familiar with because my mom did a lot of Pampered Chef stuff growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop myself at saying whether or not it's good or bad and whether or not you should or should not,
But like,
because
because I think.
that's something a Sith would do.
Well, I'm just saying,
But
like, the bulk of people who buy, like, do, like, Mary Kay. I think the average Mary Kay seller uh, nets $200 a year. But most of the women who do that, is my understanding, is they want to get the discounts for themselves and their friends who use it. And also, I love Mary Kay products, so.
I've never sold any of that. I haven't really been a part
You
of
didn't
that.
sell
But
knives door to door? What kind of job did you have in high school? Other than working at a China shop?
No, in high school, I bagged groceries for tips only.
Oh, was it college you worked in the China shop?
College was the China shop. It was the China and boutique clothing and antique furniture.
Mm.
So I got to tell a lot of middle-aged women. I got asked the question, "Does this make me look fat?" And I had to honestly answer it. And honestly, that wasn't that weird. When we just all like, no, that's not like, that doesn't work for you, but maybe we try this. And if it's just a matter of fact, let's find something that works for you.
Yeah.
And it's not a body shaming thing. Like, I was amazed at how quickly that was no longer awkward for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure they
Um,
appreciated it in their own way.
yeah, it's like if you treat someone like they're human.
Like, dude, I was trying on clothes the
So.
other day, and I think like these jumpsuits and overalls were just too short for my torso. And the woman kept saying, "Looks great." I'm like, "It does not." And I know exactly what you're looking at, and I think we can both agree this is not working for my body.
Yeah. So
Speaking of things, yeah, honesty's great.
honesty is a good thing.
Yeah.
No, I've had some weird jobs. Well, my other high school job was working at a DVD rental
Oh,
shop.
that sounds awful.
It was actually my first guitar store
Oh,
shop,
that's
because they
the
had
one.
like a little corner.
Yeah.
They had a corner for guitars in the back, and they moved me a few months into being at the front counter to the
Oh,
back.
nice.
And but because I wasn't old enough, the only thing they could ask me to do maintenance wise was restring guitars. They left the rest of the hard work for everybody else.
Oh, I'm sure you're great.
Which is
I'm
very
sure you're
sweet of them.
great at restringing guitars.
I wasn't when I was working there, but I got better over time, and I sold a lot of guitars.
But
So
honestly, I'm gonna be just. I know we haven't talked about cats this episode, so really quickly, I'm going to talk about cats.
yeah,
My cat just went to the
do it.
bathroom, and it smells really bad where I am. So I would like to end this episode as quickly as possible.
We weren't gonna get to the other half hour of content that we have.
No, because oh man,
I,
Carrie, like
I'm gonna drag it
I'm
out for
gonna
like a
change her treats because wow, that's not great.
treat yourself. Oh no. Maybe let's not do that again.
Oh Lord, this is bad. I don't like this. I would like to leave now. Thanks for listening. This has been the Get Offset podcast.
This has been the Get Offset Podcats.
Podcats. Poop cats.
Poop cats.
Oh gosh. Can we stop now?
And it was at this moment where Emily realized Andrew is stalling for as long as possible.
Why are you doing this to me? I've been messaging you for 20 minutes about how bad it smells where I am.
Have you? You didn't even respond to my last message. I sent you a GIF for the "Don't Let Your Dreams Be Dreams."
Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaPoop. My cat just took a dump. It smells so bad. Oh God. Can we stop?
All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's fine.
Again, I'm Emily.
I'm Andrew.
Bye. I'm so sorry, guys. Bye.